Welcome to Indie Music Live, episode 198. Did you miss me last week? I'm back and I'm strong. I had a bad reaction to a vaccine booster, I think. That's happened to me my whole life. And I had a Tdap, whatever the hell that is called, on Monday. And by Tuesday night, man, I had a fever and I thought, oh shit, I'm getting sick. Dave, you missed me, right? Or did you take over the whole business?
Man,
I don't even know.
it was glorious, Joe. It's just total freedom, man. I totally let loose. Me and Jared were having a great time. Best show ever.
I didn't even
But
watch the show, honestly. I posted it and stuff, but I watched like the first minute, and you were talking about how you're glad I was gone. So I thought, well, I hope I have a job next week.
yeah, it was a joke to you, man. That's what it was for. But glad to have you back.
Yeah, so I get really bad fevers, and I got a fever a couple hours before the show, and I was just really worried I was going to get really sick. So when I get sick, I get really sick. But I don't get sick very often. So Meghan, speaking of sick, how you doing?
I am not sick. And
Yeah.
Meghan Pohl is here tonight, past featured artist. Everybody may recognize her out of the NYC, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And you're having some ear problems, but you're still writing music.
Yeah. Having a little bit of I have a 30% hole in my eardrum in my 30th year of life. So still trying to keep going with that, but yeah.
Keep us posted on that. So what else you been up to other than having holes in your ears?
Yeah. Just doing some writing, doing some more like diving into my inner self kind of, and writing really deep things. And I have a single that I'm working on that I think is going to come out in May, and it actually talks about like the fear of losing my hearing. And so
yeah, totally. Yeah. So cool. Well, not cool, but I'm glad you're here. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And then we have Brady Novotny coming up, featured artist, scheduled a couple weeks ago, but he's been gracious enough to come back. Well, that was the night that Rob was sick. You all remember it, I'm sure, all 10,000 of you watching. We're going to be listening to a new review on the website. Forest Robots is back. Times When I Know You Will Watch the Sky, and the country tune Roger Brantley with Welcome Matt. Dave, what do you want to listen to first?
Oh, man, let's go with Forest Robots.
All right. Forest Robots, Times When I Know You Will Watch the Sky. It's probably one of the longest titles ever. Check out the review on the website. Who did the review on this? Was it Marty or Katie?
Oh, I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure, man.
Well, look that up and let me know. So we'll be right back. episode 198. 200 is right around the corner. We've been talking about it for like decades, it feels like. So, but it's right around the corner. That was Forest Robots. Times when I know you will watch the sky. This guy's a little weird character. I mean, I like him. I really want to like all of his music, and I don't like all of it necessarily. Like last time, I think my big complaint was the vocals. And now this song, I wish there was vocals. Maybe I'm just being too picky. I really like what he's doing. I like his style and everything. Meghan, Rite of Passage.
Yes.
What do you think?
Meghan.
Well, first of all, this name, Forest Robots, like that's amazing. That's a very original sounding name. So
Yeah, I like it too.
Well, that's
that. Like, I just want to know the story behind that. Like, but I really appreciate like the dreamy, like psychedelic vibes, fantasy world that I'm imagining when I hear this song. I just feel like it's very, just it sounds like something that hasn't really totally been done before. So like I also give kudos for that. Like just I could totally like imagine like taking a trip of something and listening to this music and then just being like, oh my god, like where am I? You know?
If I were to guess, I would say like Forest Robots is he's kind of matching like the natural world, which is the soundscapes behind this electronic system, which is the robot. So he's, and I don't know, exploring the dichotomy of those two sides. I guess that would be my guess at this what the project means. But yeah, I like Francisco Dominguez. I believe that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing. I mean, especially the soundscape. Every time I hear a song from this band, that's the part I always like consistently. You know, like it seems like he spends most of his time on that part. So I guess that would be part of the critique is to balance it out better. I mean, it's this one is kind of a trance flavor, and it has a good effect. I mean, I recommend the headphones on this type of music for sure. He's got some panning going on, some little ear candy stuff going on. The first half of the tune I thought was very nice, just with the tone and the mix. It was a nice groove. I think it started to get lost a little in the second half with the tone, where I felt it really needed more compression. Like it was starting to get a little harsh with the treble once everything was kicking in with the bells and everything, because those bells are really tough to fit into a mix. I've played around with those in the past, and it really really like kind of rings in your. It's hard to find a nice smooth bell sound. So
do you remember Mandabrat?
Yeah, of course.
It reminds me a lot of Mandabrat. What he was
yeah,
doing.
that's
you
right.
Always
dude.
tell it was him,
yeah.
but there's always something a little bit different, and you know, it wasn't like pigeonholed. So
yeah.
Speaking of pigeonholes, like that transition, we're gonna move on to the featured artist tonight. So Rob, when you're ready, let's get the shot set up, and we're gonna bring in Brady Novotny from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, guitarist virtuoso, as they say. And how you doing tonight, sir?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for coming back. You were here a couple weeks ago and being real patient with me and stuff. And Rob is actually a real person. See, he's right there in front of you. And we do the show. We do, and I just said do right on live air. Anyway, so Brady, tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you're doing with your music, a little bit about Passions Collide, and then we'll come back and get deeper with Dave.
Sure. I put out this Passions Collide album. Basically, is a combination of rock and flamenco music. So I've taken a lot of my favorite types of music, which is, just that with the Latin vibes and the flamenco classical guitar and my love for melodic rock guitar. So I combined those two things together and came up with, that's where the name Passions Collide come from. They're my passions in music. And mainly the album is instrumental, guitar instrumental. But very highly melodic.
Yeah, very much so. That's what I noticed right away about it. So cool, man. Good to have you here. We'll be right back after this.
When Muhammad Ali won his Olympic gold medal, one of the first things he did was go back to his hometown, and he actually gave it to his high school guidance counselor, who told him back then he was never going to amount to anything. So reading your bio, Brady, it's like your first guitar teacher said similar things to you.
He did.
And yeah. So it's like, if you can give him a gift right now, what would that be? Maybe like your album or something?
Well, I'd give him the gift of that, and the people that I opened up for, a lot of famous guitar players. So, I'm pretty proud of that, moments of opening up for Paul Gilbert and Ron Bumblefoot Thal and Uli John Roth. And so, I mean, some major guitar virtuosos. So pretty honored by that. And one of my best friends is the guy who managed Dream Theater. So, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and I think the symbolism there with Muhammad Ali, I think part of the story there wasn't totally just thumbing his nose and saying piss off.
Right.
I think it was also kind of honoring the motivation that he was part of. I think it was probably maybe like half and half or something. So, but the other part of the message there, it's like just with Brady, I want to kind of express to people, it's like, if you have a passion, I mean, sometimes you're going to have to just ignore people, with some of the things they say, because like if there's something you want to do, you got to just do it.
Right.
Yeah. So anything you want to add to that? Because obviously that's what you did.
Right. So. Yeah. Well, it also was my first guitar lesson too. So I don't know how you could really,
True, but it's just such a bad thing for a teacher to say to a young
I was 11
student,
years old.
Yeah. I mean,
but I prevailed. Yeah.
Yes, clearly. So I think that's a cool part of your story, though. I just wanted to mention that. But anyway, so another thing, your bio, I love that you mentioned Randy Rhoads as an influence. I mean, that's Ozzy Osbourne's legendary guitarist who passed away way too young, but he was definitely an influence to tens of thousands of guitarists over the past, 30 years or so. And I haven't heard all of your songs, Brady, but listening to the one that we just heard, it's kind of, to me, it's like a showcase, just showing kind of the two passions, just like you said, it's like flamenco, hard rock, going back and forth. Do you mix that in all of your songs? And when you perform, are you always showcasing both like flamenco and hard rock? Or do you sometimes just pick one and do an entire show with that style?
Probably about 80% of the album is about a mixture of going back and forth. And I recorded the album before I had to play it live. And so it was a challenge, but I figured out how to do it. So I do switch back and forth like the album live. I have one guitar on a stand that I use, and I have the electric guitar around me all the time. So I'm always jumping back and forth. It does take a lot of mental energy, and it does limit a little bit of my, say stage performance, but in a way it's kind of cool to watch me jump back and forth. So
cool, man. Yeah. The other similarity we have, I also got a degree in psychology, and as soon as I got that, it was from University of Illinois. Like the next week, I started touring with my band. I always joke that's the obvious next step after a psychology degree is just become a touring musician. Clearly,
sure. Absolutely.
But you actually got your master's.
I did.
So did you end up doing any type of career work around that?
Yeah, actually became a national certified sex therapist as well.
Ooh,
so
interesting.
I am nationally certified and licensed by the state, and I still do speaking and all that stuff with that degree. So I that's a big part of how I make money.
Yeah, sure, man.
And that allows me to do some of the things I get to do with my music. But so kind of
funding the passion.
Yes,
fund the passion yourself.
Right.
All right. So that website, by the way, is BradyNovotny.com. You can see it. Yeah, you could hear all of his music and read more about him and everything. But what's next for you, man?
We're actually, I put a show together here in Pittsburgh. It's called the Guitar Freaks. and it's me and right now my cousin. He actually toured with Steve Vai, so we're actually going to put a show here at the Hard Rock and do like a series, and we're going to try to get some national acts to fill in. It could be anywhere, you know. I hate to name names right now because I have no commitments from anybody, but since the one our manager, he's really trying to get some pretty heavy guitar players to come in and fill the third spot, almost like an answer to Joe Satriani's G3, but we're calling it the Guitar Freaks.
Yeah, man, it's like Steve Vai, Joe Satriani. It seemed like they basically owned the instrumental lead guitar type of scene for Jesus, man, 25 years.
Yeah.
But how about the past like 15 years or so? What are some names coming up that are, you know, kind of doing what you guys are doing?
You know, it's mainly on you know, on Instagram. There's all these Instagram guitar players,
Ooh,
you know,
interesting.
and but they don't really have, you know, records out or anything. They just kind of shred on their Instagram pages.
Okay.
So there's a lot of great players out there, but there's not a whole lot of new, other than bands like the Intervals or something like that that are touring and doing all these kind of new instrumental stuff. But you know, but not a whole lot of like Steve Vai's and Joe Satriani's coming out that are making that type of name.
Yeah, I think is it Eric Johnson was the other guy that kind of he's up
Oh
there.
yeah, sure. He's still out playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, cool. All right, man, we're gonna move on here. It was a pleasure to have you, though, Brady. Please come
Yes.
back.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, got to critique some of the other guitar work of all these bands that come through.
Sure.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, thank you.
All right, so next tune we got here is it's called "Welcome, Matt," and it's by Roger Brantley or some country for you guys. Let's do this.
Big or little, short or tall, white, black, Hispanic, and all. We're all in this together. Time to take a stand. This is all our land. There's no reason for the shootings, murders, and bloodshed. We're all the same. We all bleed red. We choose to love our neighbor every day. If you choose hate, here's what we have to say. You have to stay. Do you think you have to stay? Well, man, let me tell you that ain't the way. If you don't like what we're doing, if you don't like where you're at, then get the hell off of our welcome mat. You see, you don't have to stay, you don't have to hang around. Heaven knows we don't need you in town. How in the world am I supposed to live my life? Raise a family and love my wife. You have to stay, do you think you have to stay? Well, man, let me tell you that ain't the way. If you don't like what we're doing, if you don't like where you're at, then get the hell off of our welcome mat. With all the shooting and killing and first grade crime, you know it's sickening what some people do for a dime. Well, I'm worried every day when my girl goes to school that she won't come home cause of some damn fool. You have to stay, do you think you have to stay? Well, man, let me tell you that ain't the way. If you don't like what we're doing, if you don't like where you're at, then get the hell off of our welcome mat. You people are filled with hate and greed. Getting your head together is what you need. You can make
Stick with what we've been doing, man. What the hell? So it was Welcome Matt by Roger Brantley, some down home country right there. I think he's got a real nice, smooth voice for this style of music for sure. Nice mix too. Very, very clean, solid mix and everything. I thought it was a little odd that like the first chorus basically came in. It was like almost a full 2 minutes into the song before there was kind of a break from that repetitive verse structure. So I guess, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's debatable whether it works or not. I think just human beings are conditioned so much to expect a change somewhat earlier. And that's kind of where I sit. You know, it's like it's if it gets too repetitive, too long for the first couple minutes of the song, I think people tend to lose interest. That's just my opinion on this. But what do you think, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I did think that was like a little different. Um, I I did like his vibe. I liked his voice. I thought his voice was really appropriate for the genre, and the lyrics were really relevant with today about the
Mm-hmm.
shooting and stuff. So I really appreciated that he put that in there, because any sort of writer that puts like the truth in their words, I really that's what we need to be really kind of hearing. So it was, for me, it was, yeah. But I totally hear what you're saying with the repetitive nature of the song.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a last minute input into the show. I had another song ready to go, but I changed my mind, and mainly because this one I just kind of was looking around to our submissions that we had, and this one stuck out. You know, I'm from Indiana. I have a lot of friends that were into country growing up. Like Megan said a minute ago, she had her country phase. You know, me too. I mean, I owned a Garth Brooks album once, and I really liked it. You know,
What, did you throw it away or something?
no, I'm just saying that whatever that
I
one
owned it
album, you know,
once. I mean, it's gone now.
yeah. But and there's certain country stuff that I like, and I like the type of voice that Roger has, and
Yeah.
pretty authentic sounding to me, even though it's got that pop feel, which I'm really not normally into the pop country, you know.
Yeah,
The
we're on the
sort of
same
glam
page in that,
country.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's real authentic to me, so that's why I stuck him in there, and it's a good tune. I liked it. So, Megan, so you said you're writing new tunes, even though you're having some issues here and there. So you said
Here and
maybe a new
there,
single in
yeah.
May.
Here and there. Sorry,
What?
I was like here and there. Yeah, with my hearing, I'm having some issues.
Did people
Um,
ever do that to you? What? Just joking
yeah,
around that are
yeah,
close to you?
they do. Yeah, yeah. Um, Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, no, no. So I was asking you. So maybe a new single in May, you're saying?
Yeah, I think around May I'll be releasing my next single, which will be my actually sixth song that I put out. So
Cool.
that's kind of cool.
Are you laying low on the performing then
Yeah, for
until you
now,
get things figured out?
a little bit exhausting. And the next show that I'm playing is on my 31st birthday on in April. So
Nice.
I've taken some months off to kind of just mentally recharge. And
Cool. So remind us, where can everybody find your music before we head out tonight?
yeah, so I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, and I have a website, meganpullis.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Megan Pullis, Facebook, Megan Pullis, and I
Are we going
recently
to find some guitar shredding videos on your Instagram?
probably not, but
Hey,
Right.
you never know. You never
but
know.
I recently started periscoping, which is
Nice.
when I like live. So yeah, I guess they can find me on there too, Megan Pullis. I
Yeah, that'll be good for
try to
you.
go on like once a week and just kind of share my songwriting process with people. So
Sweet. Yeah, that's a good place to be. David, any final words? Any good poop stories or anything before we go?
No, been pretty regular lately, Joe. So yeah, all's good there, man.
Cool. So Robert Hixvideo, he's healthy and back, like we said. And if you need professional live streaming to the internet, then he's your guy to go to. HIXVIDEO. I'm JoeJoeKeys, as always. Thanks to Meghan Pullis and David Werba for hanging out with me tonight. And I'm back as well, so get used to it. Episode 200 is coming up in a couple of weeks, and we will be back next week for the last episode of the hundreds. And it'll be 199 in case you're keeping track.
Ooh.
And we'll see you then. Have a good week. Peace.